Hey everybody, Bohush here, the casual expert, speaking for Fotodioxpro.com. Now, one of my favorite things about the Sony E-mount cameras is because they are mirrorless cameras, they are super easy to adapt vintage lenses to, or any kind of lenses, modern or vintage. In fact, it's almost absurd the number of lenses we can attach to this guy. We have created a whole bunch of videos for you to check out. Here, everywhere. Videos showing you how we hook this up to a telescope, a 500mm vintage lens, all kinds of stuff. But I want to show you just how crazy we can get. Here's one of my favorite lenses because it is so old. This is from 1897. It is a Bausch & Lomb. It was sold by Kodak. It may be the first lens that Kodak sold back in the day. And I created a way to mount this on the Sony. And it's insane. I'm not recommending for 1 second you do this, but let me show you how I did it. So the way that this lens mounts is you see this groove right down here toward the middle. It actually, let's see if I can actually do this there. This opens up. And this is where you actually sort of clamp it through the body of a wooden camera. This whole thing travels on a bellows, of course. But there's no thread back here. You're just meant to sort of clamp it in place and be done. Now, I noticed that this kind of rear element here was very close to 39mm. And so what this is, this threaded piece, is a 39mm to M42, let me double check that, yes, M42 adapter that we sell. I slipped it on there and I glued it in with epoxy. I know, shock horror. I glued an old lens. The thing is, if I ever want to use this on an old camera again, it'll still work. You'll never see this thread. And this way I've got something really solid to hold it in place. So I grabbed this guy. This is an M42 to EOS adapter. I just wanted this thread here. And of course I wanted to be able to mount that on any Canon mount. The only thing I needed to do to this guy is I needed to Dremel out this inner rim here just to make sure there was enough clearance for this to go through. And you see now, I've got a Canon mount on the back of this guy. Now I don't want to mount this directly to the camera body because there's not enough room. You know, this thing is designed to go on the end of a bellows on a big old box camera. So we would be way too close to the sensor if I were to mount it using a regular adapter. So I've got to use this bellows attachment. This is a focusing bellows, and it's got Canon EOS on the front. Okay, so there's the lens on the front. On the back, this is EOS as well. So I'm going to use an EOS to E-mount adapter. And there you go. I am now ready to shoot with a 100-plus-year-old lens on my Sony camera. So the way you focus is by actually moving the lens forwards and backwards along this rail, and then you sort of lock it into place like so. Now, I couldn't tell you what the equivalent is on a modern lens, you know, maybe 150mm, I don't know, it's pretty telephotoed in. You're gonna have to be pretty far from what you're shooting, especially if you're shooting with like a crop sensor camera. But that didn't take away from the fun of monkeying around with this thing. I found best stuff to shoot was kind of vintagey looking stuff because, you know, the lens isn't very sharp. The colors can kind of vary from, you know, sort of not great color rendition to like amazingly saturated color rendition. Very inconsistent, very weird. And sure, very fun, and you're going to get a lot of looks doing this. So the way I was able to make this old lens work is using stuff from Fotodiox. I mean, not only is the lens adapter from Fotodiox, the focusing bellows is from Fotodiox. These pieces that I Dremeled and cut up and epoxied, they were from Fotodiox. So all together, I was able to give this 100-plus-year-old lens new life on a modern camera. Would I recommend doing this? You know, it's kind of fun. If you're into experimenting, I would definitely recommend it. You're not going to be able to predict the results you get, and for me, that's kind of part of the fun. But if you want a more reliable vintage lens experience, take a look at all the other adapters that we've got for Sony. Check out some of these videos right here that we've created showing you how we mounted the Sony onto a telescope, onto all kinds of vintage glass that you've heard about and love so much. Don't forget to click right here to subscribe. We'll give you more kind of cool exploratory videos just like this one. And don't forget to click down below this video to learn even more about all this gear I made work to resuscitate this old lens. My name is Bohush. Thanks for watching. Check out these other videos where we experiment with putting the Sony camera on all kinds of other lenses, including crazy stuff like a telescope.